I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin with DreAllDay.com. Today's topic is putting a comma after your setback. Now, I know especially those of you who are athletes, many of you basketball players, whatever sport you play, entrepreneurs, whatever it is you have going on in your life, you're going to face setbacks. And I've said this many times. If you don't listen to my podcast, I talk about this all the time. The bigger your goals are, the higher your ambitions, the more setbacks you're going to face. You know these are going to happen. Not that we want them to happen, we don't plan for them to happen. We plan for the best, but we prepare ourselves for the worst. So when you face those setbacks, I'm going to give you 5 tips, 5 questions that you're going to ask yourself with any setback you face in life, in anything in life, from this point moving forward. So make sure you take notes on this, remember these 5 questions, and make sure you start using these actively in your own life, no matter what situations you face. Because I hear from many of you who ask me, hey, how do I get over not making the basketball team? Or how do I get over this girl not liking me? Or how do I get over breaking my leg or getting injured and I can't play my sport? What do I do with these setbacks? I'm gonna tell you how to put a comma after a setback. I know what a comma is, right? Comma is like a pause in a sentence and then it keeps going instead of a period, which is basically means it's over. So y'all understand what I mean, the metaphor, a comma instead of a period. So let's get right into these 5 questions. Number 1 question you're gonna ask yourself is this: what can I learn from this situation? What can I learn from this situation? There have been times in my life, I remember I got injured. I went to an overseas exposure camp. I got injured like 2 days into a 5-day camp. And I was disappointed, I was sad, I was pissed off because there was players there who I was like, I'm gonna bust their ass when I get on the court with these guys. I get injured, I can't even play in the games against them, and the games that I did play in, I couldn't even perform because I wasn't even at 100%. And the only reason I played is because I was like, all right, I already paid and invested to come to this thing, let me just do it. And that was the time I was very, very disappointed in the situation. But I remember one of the organizers of the camp was talking to me at the end, and she said to me, listen, Dre, you got to ask yourself, what does this mean? What can you learn from this? What is the reason why this situation happened, and how can you make yourself stronger and better from it? And all of you facing a setback right now, whether that be from the basketball team, your business, or a relationship, ask yourself that question, because it's a very good proactive question that will give your brain the chance to give you some good answers. How can I learn from this situation? Here's the second question you're going to ask yourself. How can I improve as a person or improve on this situation based on the setback that I face? So if you face a setback, let's say you didn't make the team, or your business went out of business, or you got fired from a job, or you got dumped by a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or your parents pissed all over your dreams and your goals, how can you get better as a person because of it? How can you get stronger as a person? We all know the phrase, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So anything that didn't kill you, there's a reason why you survived it, and there's a reason why you went through it. So the question you ask yourself is, how can I become a better person because I dealt with this situation? Or if it's a situation that maybe it isn't over, it's a situation that has to keep going. Let's say you had a bad game in basketball, or you had a bad week of practice, but you still on a basketball team, you still got more games, you still got another practice. How can I get better for my team based on this bad game that I had? How can I improve with my practice habits even though I had this terrible week of practice, or the coach screamed at me in front of everybody, or I got embarrassed because some dude crossed me over and dunked on me in the game in front of the whole school? How can I improve on my performance or improve as a person, or both, based on the situation that I face? Here's the third question you ask yourself. Who has been through this exact same situation, came out stronger, who I can learn from myself, and I can borrow some things from what that person went through, what that person did, how they responded from my own situation? So if you're in a situation, let's say basketball players, we'll go back to that. You didn't make the basketball team as a sophomore. Well, we know there's plenty of basketball players who became all-time Hall of Fame greats who didn't make it as a sophomore. We know Michael Jordan is a good example. You can use somebody you know. Maybe it's somebody in your family. Maybe it's somebody in your neighborhood. Maybe it's some player who I don't even know their story, but you know their story. Who has been through the same setback that you're facing right now, and they survived it and got stronger because of it, and how can I use their situation for my situation? So the third question is who? Who is it that's been through this as well that I can learn from, and I can kind of borrow what they did? Maybe that doesn't mean you got to try to be like that person, but borrow from that person and use their situation to better my own situation. Next question. You got to ask yourself this. So we got so far, how can I learn from this situation? How can I improve? Who has been through this situation and that I can learn from? Number 4 question you ask yourself is, what's next for me? What's the next thing I can do? So you tried out for the basketball team, you didn't make the team. You tried to start a business, the business didn't work out. You had a job, you got fired from the job. What's the next thing that I do? Because again, we're talking about this being a comma after a setback, not a period. So a period means it's over, but a comma means it keeps going. So what's the next thing I can do to improve my situation as a basketball player? What's the next thing I can do to improve what we're doing business-wise, even if my business had to shut down or we had to cut back or we had to have layoffs? What's the next thing I can do if I got downsized in my job or I got laid off from my job or I don't even have a job anymore? What's the next thing I can do? Because life is not over, your sport's not over, the business world didn't end just because you lost your business. What's the next thing I can do to put myself in a better position moving forward? That's the question you're going to ask yourself, question number 4. Here's the number 5 question. And it alludes right to the topic of this video is, why is this not over? Why is the situation not over? Even though I just faced this setback, even though I feel terrible right now, even though I feel like a complete loser, I didn't achieve my goal. There are people who know that I didn't achieve it. Maybe people are ridiculing me right now. Maybe people are looking down on me and talking down on me right now. Why is it not over? Why can I keep going? Why can I get up, dust myself off, and try again? So let me recap these 5 questions you're going to ask yourself anytime you face a setback. Number 1 question: how can I learn from this situation? How can I learn and get better and improve as a person based on the setback that I've faced? Number 2, what can I do to improve on myself as a person or improve in this situation, whatever this situation happens to be, based on the setback that I faced? So if you have a business and your business didn't hit its quarterly numbers, ask yourself as a business, what can we do so that next quarter we can hit those numbers? Since we didn't hit them this time, what can we learn from this setback? Third thing, who has been through this situation? What business also didn't hit their numbers? What player also didn't make the team? What player also had a terrible game when they went 0 for 25 from the field? How can I learn from someone else who's been through this setback and survived? And how can I take some elements from what they did and use it for my own situation? So you're taking what other people did, but you're using it in your way. So you don't have to copy them or try to be like them, but you're borrowing from them and using it for your own purposes. Number 4, what's the next thing that I can do? Now that I've been through this situation, it didn't work out, I came up short, I failed on my goal, I didn't reach the goals that I said I was going to reach. What's next? What's the next thing that I can do to put myself closer to success? Because again, if you didn't die, it was there to make you stronger, the situation, which means you still are aiming for your success. Just because you didn't get it doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean you can't get it. Doesn't mean you're a failure unless you quit. What's the next thing that I can do? What is next for me in my business, in my sport, in my field, in my life? And the number 5 question, why is this not over? Since we're talking about this being a comma and not a period after the situation, why is it not over? What can I do next? Was the last question that you just asked yourself. Why is this not over? Why should I keep believing in myself? Why should I try one more time? Why should I say to myself, just because I faced this doesn't mean my entire life has ended or I'm done playing this sport or I can never make it? Why is it not over? And again, these 5 questions are 5 active questions, proactive questions, really damn good questions. You need to start asking yourself with any setback you face, even if you reach a success, you can ask yourself these same questions. And these are the type of questions that will get your brain working, give you some very good answers, and most important thing out of all of this, make sure you act on the answers that you get. Everybody, if you don't listen to my podcast every single day, it's called Work on Your Game. It's on SoundCloud, it's on iTunes. Look it up, subscribe to it. Listen, I'm giving you the value every single day, but you gotta come and drink the water. I'm showing you where the water is. There's the water back there, but you gotta swim in it, you gotta drink it. All I can do is show it to you. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.